members of the interagency drill display team, all of whom received certificates in commendation a moment ago, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am advised that altogether there would have been 86 of you working harmoniously together to have put that magnificent display on August the 31st, our Independence Day 2022. And therefore it is with more than usual pleasure that I address you today as we recognize every one of you. You gave a most outstanding performance befitting of a nation's 60th anniversary Independence Day celebration and military parade. This was staged as often at the Queens Park Savannah on that day. Today, I, representing the government and all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, along with your respective heads, commend you, individual members of the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, the regiment, the Coast Guard, the Air Guard and the Reserves, as well as the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service, the Trinidad and Tobago Cadet Force, for the well-coordinated display that you delivered to the thrill of the dignitaries. I was in the grandstand acting in my capacity as Minister, officiating as Minister of National Security on that day. In the middle of all of the dignitaries that Trinidad and Tobago invited for that parade, you would not have been able to see their reactions. You would not have been able to hear their commentary. I had the opportunity to, and I can tell you, they were genuinely impressed and thrilled, and were very, very highly commendatory of every one of you on that occasion. I took the opportunity to walk a bit of the streets on that day to feel the pulse of the people in the 60th anniversary celebration. And I was on Frederick Street when your display team went by ahead of the rest of the parade, I recall. And the public equally were thrilled. I mean, I saw the reaction of the children, your family members, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago genuinely. And I shared their joy and their pride as we looked at you go by, having done a marvelous job on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago. That was our 60th year celebration. And I told the Chief of Defense Staff, in fact, I commended him and the heads of all the other divisions of the protective services and all of your leaders for contemplating, conjuring up the idea of commending you in this way here today. Because as I indicated to the CDS, I see today's event as an extension of the 60th anniversary celebration, and properly so, because you played a particularly integral role in making it a memorable, unforgettable experience. Your well-executed, choreographed routine, which was led by the proud leadership of Warrant Officer Class 1, Ricardo Sami, and he deserves from us another very sincere You did your routine in true Trinidadian and Trinbagonian style to a mix of popular songs of our soca artists in your retro uniforms, previously worn by different arms of your divisions. And this was a major highlight. It was for me. I felt particularly proud because as I looked on you on that day, I saw several uniforms that I had the honor to wear through my years as a citizen, as a cadet, as a police officer in Trinidad and Tobago. I was really, really proud. When Warrant Officer Sammy addressed us a while ago, it brought home to me that like the iceberg, on that day, all we saw was the 1/3 of the mass of the ice above the water, but there was a 2/3 unseen in the short time you had available to you to build. The teamwork, the lifelong friendships, the coordination of the drills, because different people do things differently, different organizations. He spoke of the discipline. He went as far as to say there was not a single incident or report of ill discipline coming from you throughout the entire preparatory process. And that is worthy of the highest commendation. Because drill is the movement of a body of men on the principle of discipline, working together to achieve the goal. On this occasion, a magnificent display that rendered every single citizen of Trinidad and Tobago uniquely proud. In this, I saw skill, I saw artistry, I saw creativity. I saw some moves that I'd never seen before, and I thought I'd seen them all. But Warrant Officer Sammy, you all did yourself, and you pulled the troops along beautifully. Let us commend And though I only wore the uniforms of the Cadet Force and the various uniforms, including the short pants and the white helmet of the police service, my experience through the years, starting with my days as a cadet, observing closely members of the Defense Force, including my elder brother, wanting to be a soldier myself, having applied for a commission along with the other young, bright men at that time, didn't exactly make it. I left that for Major Lynch and the Chief of Defense Staff and others. I didn't get right through the gate. I got a bit in, but so it was, and I continued my career because when I made that application, I made it from the police service, because of course, by then I had acquired the requisite qualifications and so on. But I, with all of those experiences, having worked in the prison service or with the prison service for several of my years as a minister of government, really having touched and concerned all of national security over those years, I could easily understand the joy and the pride that each of you would have felt. I would have done anything, let me say how privileged every one of you as young people are to have been a part of this nation's 60th anniversary celebration in the way that you have participated, trained, and participated so proudly. I would have done anything as a cadet, almost anything, to be selected among the 12 or so cadets who would have represented you today. And if I was a police officer, as an instructor in this college, and they were having this kind of arrangement, I would have done almost anything to be a part of this. The nation looks at you as young people with great pride, great admiration, every one of you wearing those uniforms of your respective colors. We also look on you with great expectation. When the cadets came by here this morning, I heard the Vice Chief of Defense Staff whisper quite accurately, and it was agreed to by Senior Superintendent Simmons, this is the future of Trinidad and Tobago. And from my own experience, I am sure as young cadets, you will want to be a part of this for probably all of your life. And even if you choose other professions, you can still be a part of this because the arrangements in Trinidad and Tobago make provision for that. And those of you who are engaged in this, not cadets, but prison officers, Coast Guard personnel, Air Guard personnel, Defense Force, Fire, prison, all of you, I am sure that you would want, like your Chief of Defense Staff, like your commanding officers, like the Commissioner of Prisons, the Commandant of the Cadet Force, the Fire Service, to rise to the top of your chosen profession. I, as minister, as ex-cadet, as ex-police officer, I look on the likes of the Chief of Defense Staff, the Vice Chief of Defense Staff, with absolute pride. And I say these men achieve that which many other men would never achieve, to make it to the top of your chosen profession. And I'm sure you have it inside of you to aspire to do similarly. In my days as a cadet, I could distinctly remember one Independence Day rehearsal parade in the very Queens Park Savannah. I found myself close to a sergeant major in the army, the parade sergeant major, a fellow called French. In those days, I'm sure I'm old enough, none of you here would know Mr. French. Anybody does? But at my age, I would know him. Many of you, most of you, all of you would not. However, that alone gave me as a young cadet, all of us, Sergeant Major in the platoon, because I was a sergeant, and my other colleagues, great pride just to be able to rub shoulders with the Sergeant Major. This is what it means. So I want you to remember, as we approach the end of our 60th year celebration of our independence, to bear firmly in mind that yours is a responsibility that there are hundreds of thousands of young people in Trinidad and Tobago would love to have. You have it. You are here. You understand what it calls for. Live up to it. Hold up your colors. As I said to some of your young colleagues that they're passing out the Defense Force some time ago, and of course the police service, perhaps over the last 3 or 4 weeks, it is a painful experience when I see a member of the protective services having had the vision to become a part of this esteemed service organization with the potential to rise to the highest, with all of the opportunities that it provides, including being of service to the people who pay us, pay you to do the business. It pains me to consider that having gone through all of that, some of you might even go and take a bath, a bush bath, go by the opium man, pull a little string, do all kinds of things to get into the police service, into the Air Guard, into the Coast Guard. Having come in, endure the likes of Warrant Officer Class 1, Ricardo Sami, and the other instructors. I saw one of your Air Guard personnel today. I remember him when I looked on his drill routine today, and his kit. That's the man behind you, Commandant. What's his name? Sergeant Noel. When I looked at the man today, I distinctly remember seeing him on the last passing out parade. Am I correct, CDS? Posture the same, pride the same. Power the same. And then I heard the applaud from you, so I know he's doing the business as a leader, as an instructor. Having to endure what he would have had to dish out, to shape you up, the likes of Mr. Simmons. After all of that, you get into the job, you're out on the lines, and like some little wimp or some little sheep, some ill-trained, ill-disciplined, untrained little creep from in your community could persuade you to do something criminal, illegal, part with ammunition, part with a weapon, give information on your colleagues, treasonous as that could be. Bring dishonor to the colors. And we have seen that. And it pains me as a citizen, as a man, as a member of parliament, and most of all as Minister of National Security. Because in my deliberations with your leaders on an ongoing, on a daily basis, I know what they're aiming at. I know what they want for this country. I know what they want for you. I know and understand it all. So as we celebrate, we bear in mind that there's a lot to celebrate, but we have to constantly be on our guard and look out. And apart from the things I've raised, there are external threats, drugs, arms trafficking, human trafficking, all of these things that affect the growth and the development of the nation for which you are sworn to protect. And your drill display on that day demonstrated the extent of the training that you have imbibed, the discipline that you have imbibed, and what you as serving personnel carry in you, and what we the citizens expect of you in this 60th celebratory year and for the foreseeable future. So again, I congratulate you very profusely and very sincerely. You have done particularly well. I congratulate the Chief of Defense Staff and the leadership of this platform for taking the time and the thought to celebrate you as individuals today. And I know that the experience that you had in this will never be forgotten for as long as all of you would live. Congratulations again. Well done, drill display team.